Jordan, let's take a couple of steps back here over the last 8 days and maybe the days and weeks before that. How many taxis have been impounded? How many taxis have been impounded that has Santaco saying it's now going to court today to have them released?
Just in these 8 days.
In this 8 days and the weeks that have preceded the strike.
In these 8 days, very few have been impounded, and in fact, they were impounded by the SAPS. There probably about 70, I would say, in total. And those are taxis that have been obstructing highways and so on. So those have all been impounded. And in the weeks prior to that, probably about between 900 and 1,000 a month have been impounded for the last few months for serious offences of roadworthiness, of jumping red robots, of all of the various reckless driving offences that are listed.
That's 6,000 over the last year, and it's those taxis, those 6,000 that have been impounded. Of course, some of them may have been released after the payment of that release fee. How many taxis does the city still have in its pounds?
Lester, I'd have to get you a specific number on that, but it's quite a large number. The Benny pound is very full. I would estimate somewhere around 1,000.
The response from the taxi industry saying that there was this directive, and there's a quote that's been largely circulated by JP Smith. I've been asked by the mayor to ensure that the violence caused by some in the public transport sector is met with an appropriate response, and to remind that we will proceed with impounding 25 vehicles for every truck, bus vehicle or facility that has been burnt. You're saying that since the start of the strike, only 70 has been impounded.
Yes, that's right. Because it was important for us to say that there must be a cost for the violence. The only language that rogue taxi elements understand is the financial cost of their actions. That's why impoundments are such an important tool for us, because taxi drivers, or at least those that disobey the law, I'm careful not to say that all taxi drivers are like this. But those that disobey the law do not respond to traffic fines. They don't respond even to arrest because they're out, that same day. They respond to what hits them in the pockets, and that is why impoundments are such an important tool. So it was important for us to say, if you are going to burn city vehicles or private vehicles, there's going to be an immediate and tangible cost. But in fact, we have not done that this week. We've held back a lot, and I think demonstrated incredible restraint given the provocation of the taxi industry across the city, because we understand that we are trying to bring this to an end as quickly as possible and to maintain peace and quiet on the city streets.
But was that directive in line with the administration of justice and not in line with the need to keep cool heads over a very, very tense and chaotic last 8 days, Jordan?
Lester, I think that, firstly, we don't do vindictive or malicious impoundments. We can impound thousands of taxis a month. We issue about 50,000 traffic fines to taxis every month. Now, legally, in terms of the NLTA, every one of those fines could be an impoundment, because it is a breach of their license conditions. So we could impound, if we were being malicious or vindictive, 50,000 if we wanted to. The fact is that we only impound between 900 and 1,000. So the ratio is in fact 1 to 50 of the impoundments that we do versus those that we could do. So all that we were trying to say there was that if we wanted to, we could go out and ask our officers to be much more diligent in looking for offences. And there's no doubt that we would find them, because the offences are so plentiful out there on the roads, the traffic offences.
But isn't that what the transport minister was saying in a talking points earlier this week, that if the National Road Traffic Act was to be implemented exactly to the letter, to the T, there'd be very few cars on the road, not excusing any breaking of laws. But if I have a brake light that I don't know is faulty and I'm stopped, my car is immediately impounded is what you're saying about issuing a form or a level of leniency, not leniency, but an understanding.
It is leniency.
Isn't that exactly what the Minister of Transport is saying?
Well, I think she is right that if we were to implement the letter of the law, there would be many, many, many more impoundments. And in a way, that's a kind of backhanded confirmation from her that, in fact, the impoundments are in terms of the law. So I agree that it is leniency. The fact that we have turned up the volume somewhat on implementing the law and increasing our impoundments for the most serious offences, I think is something that should be welcomed by everyone who wants taxis to be better behaved on the roads and for more road safety. Now, Santaco has repeatedly claimed that we are impounding for what they call minor offences. In fact, the law does not distinguish between minor and major offences, but we actually have agreed with them that if they can bring us any examples of where officers have been overzealous and impounded something for a missing side mirror or a loose brake light or whatever the case is, please bring us those examples, and we will help resolve that. I actually don't think that those examples exist. I think that, in fact, the officers have mainly impounded for serious offences that can often lead to terrible and tragic accidents on the road.
Geordin, very quickly, you are meeting with Santaco today. Any hope for a resolution to the strike?
I really do think so, Lester. They've said that they want to go to court for an urgent interdict. You will recall that I have said from the beginning, why aren't you taking us to court? If you disagree with the legality of these impoundments, challenge them in court. That is your legal right as a citizen in a democracy. They have never done that. This is the first time. So I actually welcomed it last night. This is the proper way to resolve a dispute, not on the streets and not by burning things.
Mayor Geordin Hill-Lewis, appreciate your time.